board. Okay, so British expansion in India, right? And we were talking of the wars. Battle of Plassey we discussed. Do you remember Battle of Plassey? Hello? Can you hear me? I've asked a question that yeah,
Yes, sir.
walaikum assalam. Do you remember we discussed Battle of Plassey, Battle of Bexar, like EIC one from the Indian British expansions?
Yes, sir.
Excuse me, guys, you got to respond quickly. Otherwise, if I'll be waiting for your response and you are taking like ages, so we'll be doing only one topic for our entire, term. I see in length. I showed you some videos. Then we discussed the Battle of Plassey. You watched a video about Battle of Plassey as well. Do you remember that?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Respond that. Okay. Government intervention, that EIC was looting, plundering, and then British government intervened and stopped company through India Act, Quits India Act. This we discussed. T2 Mir. I'm just revising with you the previous one so that we could, start. Hmm?
Like we have not done T2 Mir.
See here. Now be attentive, everyone. Um, British expansion in India. Expansion means that the control over India, right? So we discussed that EIC is a separate topic. We already discussed about EIC. And then from 1757, this was first encounter, Battle of Plassey. First expansion means taking control. So Battle of Plassey. This was followed by 1764 Battle of Oath at Buxar, basically. Okay, and after this, company take control of Bengal and the areas around. So Bengal came under company control, EIC control, and we know that they looted, plundered. So 1784, British government intervened. And how did British government intervene? Can anybody tell me? British government intervene. How did British government intervene in company's affair? Company was controlling Bengal from 1764 to 1874. 1784. This time, the British government intervened. What does this mean? Is there anyone who knows that? Hello.
Can you repeat the question?
It's written, if you can see that 1784 British government interfere into companies' matters. Now, how did they interfere into companies' matter? Do you know this thing? They passed a law, India Act, which was passed in 1784, which was also known as Pitt's India Act. What does this law say? This law says that company was banned, EIC was banned from having any political powers or administrative powers, political and administrative powers of the area under their control. Did you understand this point here?
Yes, sir.
Everyone, I want confirmation from everyone. When I ask just a confirmation question, it is from everyone.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
And next time, you guys again don't forget and do not respond at all. So British government intervention meant that 1764 company took over Bengal. 1764 after Boxer battle, Mughal Emperor Shah Alam II gave the right to the company to to collect taxes, etc. So now company was in charge of Bengal, and Bengal under company EIC, East India Company, British, was looted, plundered, mismanaged to the extent that British government, here British government would mean the British monarchy back in England, when they saw that this EIC company was looting, plundering Bengal, so they intervene. Intervene mean, anyone? What does intervene mean?
Sir, inter, um, so
Interfere.
interfere. Yeah.
Okay, so they came in and they stopped the company, and it is also already written there. How did they intervene? Banned company from having political and administrative powers, and company could do trade. They were not banned from trading, so they could do trade, but no more they would be in charge of the areas. So what happened to the areas which were under the company control? They now came under the British government control directly, and then British government appointed its own officials to run or administer those areas. Is it clear?
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
from here we will continue. Now this shift you need to understand that initially EIC came to India. When did EIC come to India? In every lesson I have to connect you
Sir,
with the previous lesson all the time. When did EIC come to India?
1764.
No. Anyone else? When did EIC, East India Company, uh, land in India, come in India? When? Anyone? Raise your hands if you know. Hurry up. I showed you even a video which explained each and everything in detail. Then we discussed through slides. Now I don't know what is if there is another way to.
Sir, I don't remember.
It's okay if you don't remember, it's fine. But then if 20 plus people, even not one is responding, so that is not fine. An individual can forget. It's okay. Yes, Ashur.
Sir, they came to India and they landed in Surat in 1608, but until 1612 they were not given the permission to trade.
Okay, thank you very much. They came to Surat, India, Gujarat, landed there in 1608. 12, they got permission to do trade. 17, they further got permission to develop their factory or trading post, you can say. And that was their beginning as traders. So they continued doing trade till the time Mughals were like powerful and they did not interfere. But once we saw after Aurangzeb, 1707, when Mughals declined, that separate topic we have discussed already. So when there was central government declined or didn't have power in India, split into independent states, Maratha, Sikhs, etc. So British were also there in India, so they exercised their power and influence to control or take over or occupy territories. So first we saw Battle of Plassey and Buxar, and then they had Bengal, and that was their beginning. And now British government itself came to intervene, and they banned EIC, mean they took over from EIC. So now EIC is not anymore the topic of discussion, EIC role was up till this 1784. Next, British occupation of India now is done through the government. Is it clear to you?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now we will continue with other important or main, you can say, events, main development of this expansion or occupation, and the major how do any other country occupy the other country or area. So mainly when we talk of British expansion, so expansion. So what we are talking so far is through one method was wars, right? So they are fighting with the Indians and through wars. So we have already discussed Plassey in this case, okay, and Boxar. Now we'll continue. What else is there in the wars? uh, Through war expansion 1757, please do remember the dates because this is very positive you know point that if you mention in your answers an event or development with dates, so this makes a good point. Is it clear to you guys?
Yes, sir.
And the
Yes.
best way to memorize dates, most of the time to students say that we don't remember dates, so the best way is to, whenever you speak or write, make date part of the event's name. Like I won't say Battle of Plassey, I always say Battle of Plassey 1757. So I make date part of the name, part of the event's title. Do you understand this?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So by that, I automatically, slowly and gradually start recalling the date. Because if I just say Battle of Bucks or Battle of Plassey, then I might have to concentrate to recall the date. But usually I say Battle of Plassey 1757. Whenever I write, I say, so this is the way you can also do very easily. Now, British government intervention, we did it. Here, Tito Mir, this was another very small battle, you can say. Tito Mir was, first of all, introduction, who was he? Because in past paper there is a question, who was Tito Mir? So his real name was Sayyid Mir Nisar Ali, known as Tito Mir. He was from Bengal, 19th century, who campaigned against the British. So simple as this. He was another fellow who organized a brief struggle against the British, a jihad movement against the British, like that Sayyid Ahmad Shaheed we discussed in the religious scholars against Sikhs. So he gathered army up to 15,000 troops, and they built this bamboo fort. This bamboo fort they built there. His army was well trained, very brave, well trained army, and they challenged British. But as you can see, British had mighty force, and many people were now on the side of the British. So Sayyid Mir Nisar Ali, famously known as Titu Mir, could not stand British for a long period of time, and in 1831, like fighting against them, 5 days of fierce battle they put up, and they were defeated, and he embraced martyrdom. So this was another brief resistance in Bengal against the British. As Nawab Sirajuddaulah challenged British, he was the Nawab, he was the ruler of Bengal. So obviously he had major resistance, and there was a battle of Plassey, but this was a brief resistance with a few thousand people fighting against. So this was another resistance by the Indians. One thing you also understand here, when we say resistance, what does that mean? Resistance. Resistance meaning, do you know what does resistance mean? Word
Sir,
resistance.
can I tell?
Yes, yes, please, Arya.
Sir, resistance means, sir, like, sir, it means that when you oppose someone, or sir,
Opposing.
opposing.
Okay, opposing. Okay,
Oppose.
good. Okay, so opposing, it this word is also in physics other context as well. So here is basically refusal to accept or obey, right? Now British were expanding in India, mean occupying. British expansion would mean here occupation of India. Occupation of India. Is this clear? So when we
Yes,
say
sir.
British expansion, we mean what?
Occupation of India.
Occupation of India by the British. Now, when British were expanding or occupying, so did Indian resist? Did they fight back? Did they oppose? So what we will say, yes or no? Did you understand my question?
Yes, sir.
When British were expanding in India, occupying India, so did Indian, I mean Indian, not Muslim, Hindu, Sikh, Christian, did Indian oppose them or
Yes,
not?
sir.
They
Yes, sir.
opposed, man. Come on, what is this? This is what is this? What is this? This is not opposition.
It is.
It is opposition, and we just discussed Titu Mir as well. So we are basically talking of the resistance by the Indians. I'm just mentioning this here because resistance by the Indians, because sometime examiner use this phrase and sometime it is British expansion or British occupation of India. So basically this mean the same thing. The thing is this one, right? Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so resistance by the Indian, expansion by the British. When British expanded in India, Indian resisted. Now it's a separate question, who did not, and were they successful or not? That is a separate thing, but we are discussing the evidence of resistance. So this is my evidence of resistance by the Indian, and at the same time this is the evidence of British expansion in India through wars as well. So like Indian were resisting, British were expanding occupation of India. Is it clear to you, the whole thing?
Yes.
Okay, so three
Yes, sir.
events we have discussed. We'll continue with the rest. Annexation of Punjab and NWFP is better understood by this. Here you can see Lahore in the map. You can see Peshawar in the map, Multan in the map, Kashmir in the map, and this yellowish indication here is Sikh Empire. What was this?
Sikh Empire.
Sikh Empire.
Sikh Empire. Now, we first of all we're going to read this slide that we can know about what was Sikh Empire basically, and then we can also understand that how did they resist and eventually British occupy these all area. So this would be an annexation of Punjab and NWFP because this area was under Sikh control. Do you understand that? So in our book it is mentioned like annexation of Punjab and NWFP. So we will do it maybe with a little more broader angle so that we should know who was ruling these areas, uh, first about them, and then the end of that rule and annexation by the British. Annexation, I hope you know what does annexation mean. You don't know, huh? Annexation. Look, ANNEXATION. Annexation mean to add, right?
Right, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes,
when
sir.
when when British took Bengal in 1764, so the next area they took over meant they annexed. Annexed mean to their existing territory. Now this was British occupation. This they took other area. This is annexed now. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So that is why the word annexation of Punjab and NWFP is used because that was the next area taken over by the British, mean annexed to their occupation of India. So that is what annexation mean. So here we first discuss about Sikkim. Is there anyone who can read this slide quickly? I want to engage you guys as well. Read this slide, anyone? No one?
Can I?
Sir, can I read?
Can I read?
Please hurry
Sir,
up.
can I
In
read?
grade, I don't know, in grade 6, 7, or 5, you guys crying to read, and now
Sir, I
like
will read.
Abdullah Rafi, quick, read this properly.
Sir, can I read? Sir,
Abdullah
can I
Rafi, I
read?
told.
Sikh Empire. The Sikh Empire, also Sikh Khalsa Raj or Sarkar-i Khalsa,
Sarkare Khalsa or Khalsa Raj or Sikh Empire, these are the name, forget about them.
was a state originating in the Indian subcontinent, formed under the leadership of Maharaja Ranjit Singh, who established a secular empire based in the Punjab. The empire existed from 1799, when Ranjit Singh captured Lahore, to 1849, and was formed um, on the foundation of the Khalsa, from a collection of auton- autonomous,
Autonomous
autonomous Sikh mis-
missiles.
mis- At its peak in the 19th century, the empire extended from the Khyber Pass in the west to western Tibet in the east, and from Mithankot in the south of Kashmir in the north. Religiously diverse, with an estimated population of 3.5 million in 1831, making it the 19th most populous country at the time. It was the last major region of the Indian subcontinent to be annexed annexed by the British Empire.
Okay, now I'm going to ask you some cross questioning to confirm that what we read, you got it. Who founded Sikh Empire? This is called as Sikh Khalsa or Khalsa Raj or Sarkare Khalsa. So who formed it?
Sir Ranjit Singh.
Ranjit Singh.
Ranjit
Okay,
Singh.
very good, very good, Ranjit Singh. When did Ranjit Singh found this empire, Sikh Empire? When?
1799.
Okay, very,
99.
very good. Who took over from Sikhs?
The British.
British, and when? When?
In
1849.
1849. So 1849, Sikh kingdom came to an end. What was the total estimated population of this empire?
3.5 million.
3.5 million.
1831. Okay, very good. And what were the major areas? Like you can see from the map, what were the major areas of the Sikh Empire?
Lahore, Kashmir, and
Lahore,
Multan.
Kashmir.
So you can say Punjab, most part of Punjab, NWFP, now KP, and Kashmir, right?
Yes, sir.
yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So that is it. So basically, there were two wars between Sikhs and British. First was 44-45 when Ranjit Singh was alive, and the war ended with an agreement where Sikh paid some compensation money to the British, but it survived. But after Ranjit Singh's death, as Sikh these small states within this areas, they split into and they start fighting with each other. So British very easily in their second Anglo-Sikh war 1849 48-49 they took over, and that was the end of Sikh empire, and that was the annexation of Kashmir, Punjab, and NWFP. So this area was taken over by the British. You can say, remember this, by 1849, British took over these areas, marked the end of Ranjit Sikh Kingdom, and now you know about Sikh Kingdom as well. Is it clear?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So, which meant that we discussed another event of British expansion or occupation of India, and also Indian resistance at the same time. Very good. Okay, now Marathas. Who were they? This is one thing to know. Marathas, when we say Marathas, we should know who were they. Who were the Marathas, right? Number one thing. Secondly, same like Sikh kingdom, we should know that which area were under their control and their kingdom. small state. And I hope you now know at least that with the decline of the Mughals, how was India or Mughals empire split into many states? Do you understand this thing? Do you understand that with the decline of the Mughals, when Mughals started declining, mean losing their control of India, so India split into many independent states. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Please be quick. I had to repeat this very common question, common thing. Like we just discussed about Sikh. This was independent kingdom. This was Sikh kingdom. Now we're talking about Marathas, and there were many more like this. Do you understand? And what did British do? That with the passage of time, slowly and gradually, dealing with one and the other time the other, they were able to expand their control occupation of India. Why? Because the major reason you must have noticed in here that these all autonomous independent states within India not even cooperating with each other against their common enemy, foreign enemy British, but they were rather fighting with each other, and many of them were supporting British. So that is why British were able to occupy India. It was not that Indian were less in number or they couldn't put up fight against the British. No, because of this entire situation. Is it clear to you?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Now, by reading this slide at the end, I will ask you the same questions, and this whole covers who were the Marathas and about their state. Who will be able to read this next? Hurry up.
Can I read?
Hurry up if we can hear you properly. Hurry up.
Marathas. The Marathas were a Marathi-speaking warrior group from the modern Deccan Plateau, present-day Maharashtra, who to prominence by establishing a Hindavi Swarajya, meaning self-rule in Hindu/Indian people. The
Okay,
Mughal Empire or
excuse
the
me.
Maratha confidence.
Excuse me. We can't hear you properly. Your voice is breaking. So
Sir,
I
can
would
I
like,
read?
yeah, Arslan Abbas, quickly. Don't take a lot of time and start reading
No,
from
sir,
here.
can
The
I
second.
read?
Yes,
Sir,
yes.
can I
Hurry
read?
up.
The
Hurry up.
Sir, the
Maratha
Empire
Empire
or the Maratha Confederacy was a power that dominated a large portion of the Indian subcontinent in the 18th
Ready?
century.
Yes.
With the coronation of Shivaji as the Chhatrapati and ended in 1818 with the defeat of Peshwa Bajirao II at the hands of the British East India Company. The Marathas are credited to a large extent for ending Mughal rule over most of the Indian subcontinent.
Okay, boys. So here, who were the Marathas? So can you give me 2, 3 points about the Marathas, one by one?
Sir, can I tell? Sir,
Hurry
they
up.
opposed. Sir, they opposed the Mughal Empire and started a rebellion.
Okay, they opposed the Mughal Empire and started rebellion, and they were the main cause also to the decline and end of the Mughals. That is one. But who were they? Like basic
They were
information.
mainly Sikhs.
Hindi-speaking warrior group.
Okay, they were a Marathi-speaking warrior group from Western Deccan Plateau, which is Maharashtra, present-day India, and you can see this yellowish part here. This was their kingdom, confederacy. Marathas, they control much of India in the 18th century. When was this Marathas kingdom? When was founded?
1674.
1674.
16 found.
1674.
And when were British able to end this?
1818.
1818.
1818.
Okay. 1818. So this area now, huge area, was annexed by the British. You can see here that this area of the Marathas, with the end of Marathas in 1818, British had already expanded, occupied India to the great extent. So this was another event of Marathas and Sikh kingdom, and now Tipu. I hope you know he is. You must be knowing about him.
Yes,
already?
sir. He was
Yes.
the sir. He was the sir. He was the governor of Mysore.
He was the ruler of Mysore. He was the tiger of Mysore. He is known as Tipu Sultan. His real name was Sultan Fateh Ali. Okay, and he was born in 750, and he embraced martyrdom in 1799. And he is known as Tipu Sahib, or Tiger of Mysore, Kingdom of Mysore, the ruler. Okay, and this kingdom was in southern part of India. Okay, that was like 1 second here. This is Mysore, right? Southern part of India. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Now Tipu was, who was he? So there is a question, who was Tipu Sultan? So this information will help you to learn about him, basic information. So he was very brave son of the soil who resisted British, mean refused to accept their dominance, occupation of India, and though he lived a short life, because born 50 and 99 he embraced martyrdom, but being martyr, like he lives forever. That's what we believe in as a Muslim. And he had a very big cause, that he did not surrender to foreign occupation, and he was fighting against many at the same time. But let's see about his strength and his wisdom and his talent. So he pioneered the rocket artillery. Back then, he used rocket in his army, rocket artillery. He introduced a number of administrative innovative reforms at that point in time. Coinage system, mean currency system, what we have today, calendar, land revenue system he initiated, growth of silk industry he had there. Iron cased Masurian rockets were used in his by his army. He deployed them against the British in Anglo-Mysore wars. Um, Economic development program of Mysore, that it had a highest living standard in 18th century, and highest wages were there in Mysore. So it was a rich state, well managed, with lots of innovative administrative and military reforms, and that is why he was able to put up a major resistance against the British. There were four wars between Mysore. These are known as Anglo-Mysore War. Anglo refer to British, so Anglo-Mysore War, four of them, and they defeated British in the first, second, third. The fourth war, which was basically 1799, where Tipu was defeated by the British, and he was not defeated by the British alone, because he was fighting against Marathas and Nizam of Hyderabad. Marathas, the this Hindu empire, you can say state, and Nizam of Hyderabad was a Muslim. So they were also fighting against him, and British were also fighting against him, and he was up against all. But on the top of it, he was also betrayed. Mir Sadiq sided with the British, and during this last war, what proved to be his last, 1799. So Mir Sadiq betrayed him. So because of treachery of Mir Sadiq, because of up against fellow countrymen Marathas and Nizams and British, so obviously he couldn't fight all of them at the same time, but he gave them a very tough time. So with his death, 1799, British said that today India is ours, because that was the major resistance they were facing. So they believed that this was like the most brave, and they acknowledged the bravery of Tipu, right? So that was another event. I hope you've understood. Yes, we have done expansion through wars, all of these. Now just few minutes, like I know the time is over, but still. Okay. Now see, we have discussed major resistance by the Indians and the wars of expansion by the British. The second method or way of expansion of the British was through alliances, subsidiary alliances. Now, what were subsidiary alliances?
Period over.
I know, just a minute. Subsidiary alliances, you know what subsidiary alliances are? No. Okay, look,
Uh,
when British were, see, just pay attention for a minute and we can end it, because then we have to spend a lot of time to recap everything. So I want to just conclude here. Subsidiary alliances made by the British, made by the British with Indian princes, Indian rulers, local rulers like states ruler, Indian rulers, local rulers, those who willingly joined British. When British defeated Tipu, Marathas, etc., so they served so many other local states. Those who joined British, they agreed that okay, we are not fighting, we are joining you willingly. So they became part of British India. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So other expansion of British in India was through subsidiary alliances, the people who joined them willingly. So that was one. Now the next class we will start here from the doctrine of lapse, the last method way that they took over India. And with this we will finish our topic. Is it clear?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Okay, then now you can go. You can go.
Love, sir.
Take care. Allah
Love,
Hafiz.
sir.
Allah Hafiz,
Allah
sir.
Hafiz.
Allah
Love.
Allah
Hafiz.
Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz, sir.
Allah Hafiz, everyone.